What is going on, FA Nation? Jonathan Pemba here with Howard Bender. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NFL DFS Playbook Preview Show. NFL Week 9. Week 11 is here. Howard, how did I say week 9? You know what happened was I read the bottom scroll, 1999, and my brain just said the word 9. NFL Week 11 is here. We do have a 50% off first month, 1999. You can check that out if you guys aren't all pro members going on right now. The NFL Week 11 is here. We do have another 9:30 start game. Nine's popping up everywhere with the Dolphins Commanders. If you want to get ready for some Sunday morning football, but we got a Sunday main slate to talk about with 11 games on it and some big names, some very interesting matchups to look at here this week, Bender.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. We got a lot of divisional games this week. There are a lot of close point spreads out there. So, it's kind of we're in that situation. There are a lot of bad defenses matching up with each other as well. There are a lot of really good defenses matching up with each other. So I'm psyched. Let's get it going. Listen, the DFS playbook. Listen, we've been crushing it week in, week out. It's crazy how close I feel. Like one of us, me, you, John, whether it's Coop, like Grande, like one of us is like on the cusp of like just unlocking that magic lineup. I post the optimal lineups from the playbook that are, in the watch list, right? After the fact. And you look at those lineups and you're like, how did I not have that? I had 3 or 4 of those guys already locked into my lineup. So it gets a little crazy, but the playbook is continuing to make a ton of people money, right? You've seen the posts over there from
I was
Phil, Phil D in our Discord. That dude's killing it right now.
I was one pivot away from a top 3 finish in the $15 3 max last week. I played James Cook instead of Devin Achan. If I make that swap in my Davis Mills stack, which I had you guys on this show, I said I wanted to make a Mills lineup. He was in the dartboard. You had him as the unofficial and Pemba special play. 3 total touchdowns for a $4,500 Davis Mills. Nico Collins had the big day. If I just played HN instead of Cook, would have been looking at like $600-700. Said I made 60, still good, but obviously, there was a large point difference. I think the Bills are going to actually be able to beat the Miami Dolphins last week with Cooks leading the way. Hopefully, we can put together some more successful lineups here, and we'll start it off at the quarterback position. Allen, Jackson, Mahomes, Stafford, your top 4 price plays. Feels like it's been a while since we've had all of those big names on the same slate together. Allen at home versus Tampa Bay, but we'll talk about it. Mentioned on the betting show some potential weather problems in that game. Lamar gets Cleveland, and Mahomes gets Denver. 2 road matchups for those 2 QBs. And then Stafford at home against Seattle. How are you approaching those top 4 QBs?
It's kind of funny. I'm really not into the top 4 QBs right now.
Okay.
I would say Stafford's probably my favorite out of the 4, right? Because, the other guys are costing too much. Again, Josh Allen, what I hate about this offense right now is that Joe Brady is all about the dinking and dunking downfield. The A-dot for Josh Allen has been dramatically shrinking. I was hoping he was going to want to chuck the ball downfield a little bit more to find Keon Coleman, but they haven't been doing that because I feel like Joe Brady is just constantly playing it safe. And we've seen this kind of backfire on the Buffalo Bills with losing to Miami and, and putting up like barely 20 points in each game over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm really, until they blew it not getting him an alpha receiver. So until I see something a little bit better out of Josh Allen, not to mention the fact that, the weather in Buffalo is supposed to be absolute garbage this weekend. So you're getting, some cold weather and will Lamar Jackson be able to, maneuver, against Cleveland? I know you can pass against Cleveland. I know if Myles Garrett starts chasing him down, he's going to take off and run. I like Lamar. I just don't know based on the rest of the group. And I mean, like all the quarterbacks, I just don't know if it's worth paying up this week.
Sure. Stafford is the cover of the quarterback coach this week over at Fantasy Alarm. Again, the run that this man is on right now, with the touchdowns over the last 3 weeks. They are 13 passing touchdowns. Hasn't had an interception since week 3. Nakua and Adams are maybe the best 1-2 tandem. Probably not maybe, probably the best 1-2 tandem in the NFL. Stafford's on an MVP level pace right now. They're home. I'm kind of riding the wave here. It's a super expensive stack, though, because he's $6,600. Nakua is a top price wide receiver. You're not really getting any discount on Devontae Adams. So if you can find it and make it work, I think that's a viable play here. And I'm kind of with you on the other ones. I think Lamar would be the guy that I would go to just because, Cleveland's pass rush is elite. But what happens when the defensive ends and Myles Garrett move upfield and all Lamar Jackson does is step up? Next thing you know, he's off for 40 yards on a run, right? So, and we know how bad their secondary is. If they do give him time in the pocket, he's going to be able to pick them apart. They did just rule out Bateman for this game. Not that that's like a huge blow, but they did take away a wide receiver there for Baltimore. But I still think Jackson would be the other quarterback I would go to. If you go down a little bit further into the list, Justin Herbert at $6,300 is looking like a popular play this week, going up against Jacksonville. And I'm perfectly fine going there. But I'm kind of interested in Purdy's return here at $5,800. How are you feeling about sort of that next 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the list?
I love Justin Herbert this week. Obviously, Jacksonville's struggling pass defense. They've got a better run defense there. And yeah, you look at the numbers, you look at the efficiency with the way he's throwing. And, only 1 touchdown last week. But, I mean, come on, really? They didn't need to, against Pittsburgh. And I think that when you're looking at Jacksonville, he's going to need to throw a little bit more. So I dig that. I'm not interested in Bo Nix. Jordan Love, that dude is just a massive disappointment more often than not. I can't get a feel for him at all. And you know what? And even when he was on, right, that game against the Steelers. Oh, funny. Everybody seems to do well against the Steelers.
Everybody does, huh?
Who's quarterbacking against the Steelers this week here?
Joe Flacco.
Maybe we should just play him.
Yeah.
No, but I don't want to play Jordan Love. There's no consistency with the weapons. You lost Tucker Kraft, who's the security blanket. So I'm not doing that at all. I don't mind Caleb Williams, but I'm with you. I would be more intrigued by Purdy going up against Arizona here. Again, not a great secondary. And, I think that with all the weaponry that they do have now coming back, I think he's going to be a popular ad.
Listen, Purdy said the toe's good. He's not even going to be wearing an insert in his shoe. Usually guys, when they have sort of that like plantar fasciitis, they wear the insert in the foot to kind of relieve the pressure and the pain. No, he said he's not even going to have the steel insert in his foot in the shoe. So the toe's good to go. They're getting Ricky Pearsall back. Jennings was back last week. They have Kittle. They have CMC. The offense is ready to go. So I'm going to buy into some Purdy here.
And the defense is bad. The defense is bad enough that Brissett can kind of keep it, within reason.
Sure. And they're playing on turf. They don't have to deal inside. They don't have to deal with any sort of element impact potentially there. So I do like Purdy at 58 because he's a pretty easy stack. All of his weapons outside of CMC are very cheap this week. If you wanted to go there, I think Jennings is like $5K as the top wide receiver. So Purdy's there. And then, everybody's just kind of looking at this Flacco-Rodgers matchup because the last time they played each other, I think it was like Thursday Night Football, right? They went out and just hammed it up. He had 4 touchdowns in that game, 3 touchdowns, 31 of 47, 342 and 3 scores for Joe Flacco. And he's obviously been pretty elite from a production standpoint. And if you watch the betting show, I took the over pass attempts for him because all they do is have this guy throw the football. 47, 34, 47, 45 pass attempts the last 4 games.
Did you want me to add to that or just? I mean, listen, no. I mean, of course, Flacco Rodgers. That's definitely going to be the most popular. And I'll tell you what was one of the funny things was when we were talking about the DFS watch list. I was talking to Jim Bowden, and we were talking quarterbacks. And I wanted to say, I was like, what do you think of Aaron Rodgers going up against Cincinnati? And I'm like, he's. Jim went off, him, DK Metcalf, getting Calvin Austin involved. They can't cover the tight end well. So he's got this array of tight ends. It's tough to, you can pair him up with Metcalf, right? Or you can pair him up with Austin, maybe if you need to save some money, not if you're, whatever, but it's all lining up for this kind of a shootout thing, which is what I wanted to hear from him, because I think it turns, and we'll talk about running backs in a little bit, it turns Jaylen Warren into a fantastic contrarian play, maybe.
I agree. I'm big on Jaylen Warren. Again, we'll talk about running backs this week. He had a huge game against Cincinnati last time out, but if you play the Flacco side for the passing attack and come back with Jaylen Warren, then you're definitely good to go in that matchup. Believe it or not, early ownership numbers also have JJ McCarthy as a nice value play this week.
Yep. And I agree with that. I think that's actually true. He was just so amped up last week, right? 26 targets to Jefferson and to Addison, and they caught 7 passes because every other pass was like 12 feet over their head.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he just harnesses that adrenaline, I mean, I don't love Chicago's pass defense. Do you?
No, they've been terrible. So obviously there's a lot of inconsistency with this quarterback. He does offer some rushing upside, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of offset if he does turn the football over, which he has in every game he started so far this season. But he does have a couple of games of multi-touchdown passes there as well. If it gets into a shootout, it's good to know that they're willing to let him throw the ball 40 times if they have to. So right now, some ownership is on JJ McCarthy, because he's $5,200. So whether you go Purdy, Flacco, Rodgers, McCarthy in the 5K tier, I think that's fine. You're higher on Brissett than I am this week. Do you play him in DFS though?
I might. I mean, listen, he doesn't need to do a lot to pay off 4,900. And you look at this guy he's 20 plus points in each of his last 4 games. Yes, you did take away Marvin Harrison Jr., but he still has Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch. He's got Trey McBride. He's got Elijah Higgins. He's got weapons to throw the football. And it's more about how bad this San Francisco pass defense has been. They ranked 25th in DVOA against the pass. They're giving up like the 11th most passing yards per game, but the efficiency, that's the key, right? A 105.1 passer rating allowed by the San Francisco 49ers. So Jacoby Brissett doesn't need to be some like crazy gunslinger. He can just get it done efficiently. High completion percentage, get me, 250 yards, if this turns into a little bit more of a shootout kind of world, and then give me like 2 touchdowns. I don't think he's had 2 touchdown passes in each of his last 3 games. And I'll tell you what, Green Bay, Dallas is terrible. And I can take that game with a grain of salt. But what he did against Seattle in Seattle last week should definitely be paid attention to. Threw 44 freaking times in that one. And the game that he had against the Colts in Indianapolis, I think that's worth, kind of just paying attention that, again, he doesn't need to be 300-yard, 3-touchdown guy because he's only 4,900.
Sure. And again, I completely understand it. Taking away MSJ for me, obviously, just like I don't love when a guy loses one of his better skill position players, but ultimately volume is king. So if they do trail in this game, he's just gonna throw a ton.
How many dog shit teams has Jacoby Brissett captained for, and found success?
He has been a good backup quarterback since being drafted by the Patriots all those years back, so he's been able to hang around because he can put up little stints like this, for times stretches there. Bryce Young, Michael Penix, Jameis Winston, don't really have any interest there. I do like Davis Mills. I gave you guys Davis Mills last week. Didn't obviously expect the rushing touchdown, but I did bet the over 1.5 passing touchdowns. 60% completion percentage, 292, 2 scores. Against Jacksonville at home. Now they're on the road this week. Obviously, that always throws a little bit of a wrench into some things here, but I'm willing to go back because I like Nico Collins. He has a healthy Christian Kirk. I would prefer Dalton Schultz to be active. He didn't practice today, so it seems like trending towards no there. You highlighted how bad Tennessee is against the run. They're also only 24th in DVOA against the pass, so they're just a bad defense overall here. I think Davis Mills is a good backup quarterback. I think he can get you starts like Jacoby Brissett can as a starting quarterback. So, do I think we're going to see 65 points scored in this game again? No. But I think we're going to see enough out of Davis Mills that he can pay off a $4,500 price tag.
Yeah, again, you don't have to do a lot to pay off 4,500. It's not, you just don't want him to be a turd, right? You don't want 103 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. That's what you don't want. But is Tennessee capable of pushing that? No. Can Davis Mills give you 250 and 2 against Tennessee? Yeah, he definitely can. So for 4,500, it's not about how much, how great Davis Mills is. It's about what you do with the rest of your budget.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Are you playing Jameis Winston this week?
Nah.
Okay.
Nah. I mean, listen, it's fun and it's exciting, but I don't need to play Jameis Winston. No Darius Slayton. It's Wan'Dale Robinson. It's Isaiah Hodgins. And then you've got the 2 tight ends, one of which Theo Johnson I really like. And I kind of feel like Theo Johnson's a guy who I'll play in DFS because he's got that OJ Howard way about him, right? Like Winston will find the mobile tight end downfield, but I just can't. I can't. Not yet.
If Slayton was active, I would have been interested because they just throw deep shots down to each other and he catches a couple ones, but no trust in that. All right, running back position. CMC is $9,000. Is your top price running back of the week. Bijan Robinson 83. Jacobs and Cook round out the 7K tier. I do like Josh Jacobs a lot. I don't like the Green Bay Packers passing offense, but Jacobs against the Giants this week at $7,800. I think he's in for a big workload.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in for a big workload over there against them as well. Again, McCaffrey's always in play. Bijan Robinson can be in play. The run defense has kind of gotten a little soft for Carolina over the last couple of weeks. They were really, really strong early on in the season. It's just kind of softened up. So if you want to pay that kind of money, you can. I agree with you. I think Jacobs is in a great spot here. I also like James Cook at 7,300, especially if there's going to be some weather issues. You can take it to the outside against Tampa Bay. You just don't run up the middle. You don't run directly at Vita Vea. If that's the case, then I think Cook's in a great spot.
Yep, I agree with you. Trevion Henderson had the kick out run to end the game, and his first long run was up the middle, but really kind of towards the outside tackle, away from Vita Vea, and he was able to break it. So I'm fine with that.
Gotta get your stupid Patriots mention in there, don't you? Don't you? You son of a...
It was relevant to the conversation.
I'm wearing the Jets shirt today because they did exactly what they needed to do yesterday.
That's fine.
They lost.
Didn't cover and they lost, so that's fine.
Did not cover and they lost.
CMC is your highest rostered running back this week at $9,000. So obviously you figure out a way to get him in there. No one's going to fight you on it. But we mentioned Jaylen Warren. He is actually number 2 in ownership as of right now. Again, we're recording here Friday afternoon. So not as sneaky as you would have hoped here, Howard. Everybody's kind of in on the Jaylen Warren play at $6,100.
Great. Well, then I guess we got to figure out who our pivot is.
I don't think you want to pivot. I think I want to play Jaylen Warren versus the Bengals. I think
you do too. Absolutely. He was, you know what, the funny, you know why his ownership is so high? He was on the cover of the watch list.
Oh, you gave it away.
I gave it away too early.
From there, no one's really getting any ownership of this next group, honestly. Chase Brown is a little bit. Again, Cincinnati-Pittsburgh is going to be a popular game to play this week, but Kyron, nothing. Dowell, nothing. As of now, again, we're here Friday afternoon. No one's playing Derrick Henry or Quinton Junkins at all. Rico Dowell says nothing. He's getting 12%. So I guess that's a little bit better than nothing. RJ Harvey's getting 10%. He's all the way down here at 54. Woody Marks, someone that you like, he's getting 20%. So Marks is kind of your next play when it comes to ownership here.
Come on, man. See, all the guys I wanted to throw in there. I got to stop talking about this shit on a Tuesday.
Listen, it's only Friday. We obviously know there's dramatic ownership changes generally as we get closer to Sunday as more things happen. But your value plays, and I think it's because people are going to look to spend up at wide receiver. If you're plugging in Woody Marks and you're plugging in Jaylen Warren at 61 and 54, you got plenty of money to spend at wide receiver this week.
I'm sure a boatload of people are also going to pay down for Sean Tucker going up against Buffalo. As the between the tackles guy, I mean, we know that Rachaad White is completely inefficient. So I think Sean Tucker is going to probably get some play here from the masses as well.
Well, right now he's only 3%.
Okay. Oh, that's great then.
So there's your Harvey pivot maybe. Harvey getting the 10%. I'm less in on Harvey as we are. If you watch the betting show, I talked about it. I took the under 53.5 rushing yards. It's obviously not fair to look at his rushing attempts this season and be like, oh man, like he's sucked because his role hasn't been to run the football. But 7 carries, 46 yards, but 40 of them came on a 40-yard run here. 6 carries, 70 yards. 50 of the 70 came on a 50-yard run. So he's a home run hitter, but Kansas City's got a really good run defense. So
Did
I
you
think
just
you're going
say
to
that he's Jerome Ford?
maybe.
That's what the exact words. I'm sorry, having flashbacks to when we were talking about Jerome Ford one time.
Did. In that game, Jerome Ford broke the 60-yard, and you're like, see, I told you. I was like, well, he sucked every other carry he had in that game. So, so very live, obviously, for a big play. I think they're going to utilize him more as a receiver in this game, and maybe he gets 10 carries, and I don't know if he's going to run for average 5 yards a carry here against the Chiefs this week. So I'm less in on Harvey, which does make maybe a Tucker a pivot play because he's not the lead back. It's still Rashard White.
Yeah.
But he's creeping up there. 9 and 12 carries, touchdown 2 weeks ago. The only running back now all season to run over 50 yards again. Well, not Breece Hall until last night to crack 50 yards against the Patriots. So Tucker at 5K is kind of interesting.
I definitely think Tucker's at 5K is very, very interesting. I'm in on that. I will say this, though. If Woody Marks is sitting at a 20% clip, I think if you're talking about a single entry GPP tournament, I think Nick Chubb then definitely warrants a look. Tennessee is terrible against the run. And look at those numbers last week, right? 5 for 47, not bad. 9.4 yards per carry average for Nick Chubb. The only reason that he didn't get the work and that Woody Marks was on the field for 80% of the snaps was because they were behind the entire game.
They're losing the entire game there, yeah.
So all of a sudden, I think Nick Chubb now becomes a little bit more intriguing as a contrarian play at 4,700. And then I will also shout out Emari DeMercado as the pass catching 2-minute drill, third down back for Arizona. He is back in everybody's good graces over there, catches a couple of passes. They have the design screens, can be explosive sometimes. As long as he's not being a dope and celebrating too early, I think DeMercado is an interesting play also.
Okay. I don't mind that. 45 just as sort of a PPR punt play. Anything else that you would look at here?
No, not really. I mean, you could say, am I going to go with Tyler Bidet as the possible pass catching back if Dobbins is out? I'm still not interested.
You go Swift or Monangai this week?
Oh, you got to go with Swift over Monangai this week.
Okay.
You got it. I mean, he got the volume. We saw that he was the lead back. There was, it wasn't like, all right, we're going to play the hot hand here and see what happens. It was, this is Swift's job. Let's let him lose the job without an injury.
It's just unfortunate that Kyle got the touchdown last week, right?
Always. Well, that's just the way it goes, Johnny.
I agree. All right, wide receiver. Again, some elite wide receivers to spend money on this week. And if no one's spending money at running back, you got to figure they're going to the wide receiver. That's kind of the case here. Jamar Chase is over 30%. Gets this matchup, obviously, against Pittsburgh. Everybody's looking to chase that spot. Puka Nacua is over 20%. Justin Jefferson is 16% here. Drake London's 20%. So, again, people are spending some money at some expensive wide receivers.
I mean, listen, you do what you can. Like Smith-Njigba's in a great spot. The back and forth there that with the potential of that game, that's definitely going to hit big. So is the Jamar Chase play as well. It makes Rashee Rice a fantastic contrarian play because you're probably going to get Rashee Rice at like 4% ownership.
So it's actually JSN's actually the lowest of the group.
No way.
Yeah. So Rashee, and again, Friday afternoon, things can change drastically. We'll have all the updates over at Fantasy Alarm when those come through on Sunday morning. Rashee Rice is currently hovering around 12, and JSN is 8.
Sweet. Okay.
So we'll see.
He's 8,900. It also makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. But yeah, no Surtain for Denver, I think changes the way people are looking at that defense.
Yes.
So $7,900 for that. Again, Adams gets a lot of touchdowns. No one's playing Devontae Adams since they're playing Puka Nacua. Jefferson and London are getting some love. I like Nico Collins. I'll go back to the Nico Collins. 15 targets the last game, 136 yards. Davis Mills is throwing to him. So I like Nico at 67.
Nico's in a great spot. Absolutely. I like McConkey. I think he's in a great spot here as well. Jacksonville just kind of struggles over the middle. I think Odunze's in an okay spot here as well. Not my favorite, but it's kind of funny. This next tier that we're in here, the low sixes.
Yeah.
I don't love it that much, man. I mean, Brian Thomas, he's questionable. T. Higgins, obviously, if you want to pivot off of Chase, he's in a fine spot there. Sutton's going to see a lot of Trent McDuffie. Harrison's out. So it kind of pushes me down here to looking at like DK Metcalf, Wan'Dale Robinson with Jameis Winston throwing to him, even Jordan Addison going up against this bad Bears defense.
Yeah, I think that's where most people are going to look here as well. Wan'Dale, I think, is going to be pretty popular, just sort of given the fact that he's the lone guy and Jameis is throwing him the football. But I like Metcalf a lot in that spot. We talked San Francisco. Pearsall is back. Jennings is $5,100. So if you're liking Purdy, his top 2 wide receivers are right there.
I will say also, by the way, Troy Franklin is getting rock solid targets here, right? 9, 10, 8, 10. He's getting the work. If Trent McDuffie's going to be paying most of his attention to Cortland Sutton, it's going to free up Troy Franklin in a couple of good spots there and some one-on-one coverage.
Sure, no arguments on that one. Romeo Doubs is fine at 5K. Xavier Worthy at 49. I mean, I get Rashee Rice is getting a lot of love here, but the targets have been pretty good for Xavier Worthy. I think I would give that a look in tournaments this week.
Sure, why not? Why not?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
Tez Johnson, maybe if they're passing or if they're effective passing, but further down the list here, that's kind of where I'm like hanging out. I would give Christian Watson a look. Oh, he just lost his questionable tag. Look at that. I would give him a look in tournaments there. No problem with that. I'm not interested in Cooper Kupp in a revenge game narrative, though. I will say that.
Okay.
I am interested in Calvin Austin III in this game as a way to get a slice of this game without having to pay through the nose. I think that's a perfectly fine spot as well. But then you've moved down here. You got Michael Wilson at 3,800. I think he's in a great situation for sure. Who else was I looking at? Oh, Greg Dortch at 3,300. He's in a fine spot in a full point PPR format. Just given the situation. But there you go. That's probably where I'm at with pay downs here. Did I miss anyone?
No, Zacchaeus is getting some ownership just because.
6 drops in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's Luther Burden time.
You've been calling for it. We'll see if we can finally get it or not here. Tight ends, obviously up the top, Trey McBride, $6,300, and it's a big drop down, 5K to George Kittle. McBride is currently your highest rostered tight end as well because he is going to get peppered with targets as no MHA there for the Arizona Cardinals, and obviously coming off 9 for 127 and a score. 5 touchdowns over the last 4 weeks for him. So well-deserved top tight end tag there at $6,300. But where do you go next?
I like Gadsden. I really do like Gadsden. I like his usage rate there. Seeing about a half a dozen targets on average for like the last 5 weeks that they've been, kind of getting him a little bit more involved. And you look at the fact that Jacksonville has been struggling against the tight end. I can't remember. They're like 22nd, 23rd in DVOA against the tight end, but they're giving up like 70 yards per game to the position. So I'll take a little Gadsden there with his yards after the catch.
Okay. Let's see.
Theo Johnson at 4,100. That's my next play after that.
Let's say him and Kyle Pitts, right?
Yeah, him and Kyle Pitts are both in great spots here this week as well. Both in great spots.
Dalton Schultz is actually off the injury report now as of the most recent text. So I don't mind this. 11 targets, touchdown last week. Didn't Davis Mills thrown to the tight end. Like I'm good with Alden Schultz here.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. 3,900, that'll work.
Let's see.
Beyond that, I mean, here's like now you got your choice here of which Pittsburgh tight end are you going to throw the dart at? Are you going to throw it at Freiermuth, who absolutely annihilated the Bengals last time they played? Right, he had those 2 touchdowns, big yardage there a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people are going to utilize him. I don't know what's the ownership look like on Freiermuth here, because I think that Jonnu Smith then becomes a nice little contrarian play.
Okay. Yeah, I think Jonnu or Freiermuth, someone's catching a touchdown in that game for Pittsburgh at the tight end position. Is there any other value though you like here?
No, there is not.
Yeah.
I hate Hawkinson. You could. Seattle is definitely, with no Julian Love, Seattle's been terrible against the tight end. So you could go Higbee, but Colby Parkinson's actually seeing like equal snap share and more targets. So when he's on the field, he's being targeted a lot more. And I think Colby Parkinson, he's like super low on the.
Where is he? Is he on the slate?
He's got to be here somewhere.
Right there. Min price 2,500.
See? Min price for 5 targets, 41 yards, and a touchdown last week against the Niners.
Could be a dart throw. Could be a dartboard play. All right, let's go to defense here, where this one feels pretty simple. A lot of people are playing the Texans this week. On the road against Tennessee, they are obviously a good defense. $3,700 though, so they're also a bit expensive. What are your thoughts here on the defensive side of things?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can go with the Packers if you're expecting multiple interceptions from Jameis Winston. Texans are my favorite. I would definitely rock the Texans there if I have that kind of money. Falcons are in a good spot here. Their run defense is a little but Rico Dowdle's also been kind of nursing a little bit of a quad issue, so that might be an interesting spot there. But then you start scrolling down further. I don't really like any of the defenses. I don't like any of these matchups. What's Malin saying?
Good question. You can check out the defensive special teams coach over at Fantasy Alarm.
I'm going to take a look at that right now. I won't say who Malin's play of the week is, but
you can get it for 50% off, $19.99 first month.
Wait, how do you do that, John?
Go to fantasyalarm.com/YouTube. Apply the promo code YT50 and get 50% off that first month.
50% off?
Yeah, $19.99 first month. Get access to all of our DFS coaches, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and defense. And Bender's playbook and Bender's dartboard.
Whoa, you would not believe who Malin's got as his fade defense of the week.
Fade defense of the week, huh? It must be Houston. Well, we'll find out.
It is not Houston.
Now I'm gonna have to go read this up.
All right. No, you're gonna have to go read that article, Johnny.
Let's go. Let's get a lineup going here.
Okay.
Go Flacco. Do our little Flacco, Warren, Chase.
Sure. Get as much chalk in there as we possibly can.
Yeah. All right. 5K play. And we build.
And here we go. Well, all right. So let's kind of start it off. What do we have as far as value picks go? At wide receiver, that's usually the spot where we can look the best.
You've been big on Wilson here, so
sure. Michael Wilson.
He's 38. Feels like an easy play.
Okay, beautiful. What did we say? We wanted to do Woody. We were looking at Woody Marks.
Yeah.
Or we could go completely contrarian and go with Nick Chubb.
I'm good with the Marks there, and I think if you want to be contrarian, we could 3 running backs and do Tucker.
Oh, okay. There you go.
If you wanted to. Otherwise, I mean, we have some money we'll play with, right? If we do. What was your favorite defense?
The Texans at 37.
Texans. That's $5,600. Tight end. McBride is obviously 63, but you like Gadsden?
I like Gadsden at 46.
All right, so that gives us 6,200 wide receiver flex.
Damn.
So
that's badass. That's badass because you could like pay for like you could throw like a Christian Watson in there, and then all of a sudden like get this, fantastic little
8K for
$8,000.
Rice Jacobs. Do we double up on Packers here?
Good Lord.
Jefferson?
Good Lord. I don't want to double up on Packers though.
Okay.
I want to about Devontae Adams. Get Devontae Adams in there.
That works. Flacco, Warren, Marks, Chase, Wilson, Watson, Gatson, Adams, and the Texans defense as a little GPP option for all you guys here. $300 left over if you want to mess around with somewhere, pivot off of something.
Oh, I got some crazy pivots in lineups that I've already been playing with. So
there you go. Well, Benner gives you example lineups on Sunday morning if you're part of the All Pro subscription package there. It goes along with the playbook and dartboard that are released on Saturday. So again, 50% off your first month, fanstorm.com/YouTube, promo code YT50 to take advantage of that offer. Coop and Bender will be on Sirius XM on Sunday morning from 10 to 11. Myself and Andrew Cooper will be right here on the Fanstorm YouTube channel from 11 to 12, getting you guys ready for NFL Week 11. You can wake up and watch some football with your breakfast with the Commanders and the Dolphins over in Europe. So enjoy that. Ben and I will be back next week, everybody. We'll catch you later.